Think Realty Nation, it's your host, Abhi Golhar. Welcome to the Think Realty podcast. Excited to be here with you today. And if you're tuning in, this is your show. Not because you want the next level info, because you're going to get that. Not because you're looking for another strategy. You're going to get that too. What you're really looking for is a personality that's going to deliver it in the best possible way about residential assisted living. And it's not one of these topics that a lot of folks talk about. Because when you think real estate, you think clogged toilets and you think maybe notes, right? Commercial real estate and like millions and millions and millions of dollars that you have to buy stuff with. No, you don't have to do that. My friend Gene Guarino with RALacademy.com is stepping in today to talk a little bit about what it means to be a residential assisted living investor and how you can make multiples of money on your money every single month using his strategy. So I'm excited to have that conversation. But I want to give a huge shout out to today's sponsor because we can't do the show without our amazing sponsors. Today's sponsor is Real Property Management, the largest residential property management franchise in North America, managing tens of thousands of properties for individuals, investors, and institutions throughout the country. Learn more at realpropertymgt.com, or you can call them at 888-806-7088. Let's dig in. Gene, welcome to the show, man. Good to
see you again. It's been a while.
Hey, likewise. I love the virtual webinars and the Zoom stuff, and your screens, man, they are on point. Like whenever I do the virtual stuff, I'm like in outer space, I'm floating around in the Atlantic Ocean. But like, this is like eye level. I need to like get your backgrounds. I don't know how to do that.
Hey, we can go to outer space if you want. I'll put you right on SpaceX if you want.
That sounds great. SpaceX, I like it. So, Gene, give us a little background. I know you're the master of residential assisted living. That is your space. But a lot of investors and a lot of viewers don't really know what that is. Just share a little bit about who you are and your background.
Sure. So, I've been doing real estate since I was 18, so I've got a lot of background. But when it comes to senior housing and residential assisted living, we take a single family home and we convert it into the assisted living. And with that, there's a real estate play and then there's a business play. And you can do either or both, but I guarantee everybody's going to get involved in this one way or the other. The question is how, and that's what we do, is we either do it as an investor, as a real estate owner, or as a business owner, or a combination of those. And that's what I'm here to talk about.
Awesome. So from an investor's perspective, I'm sure, there are a lot of factors that go into this, right? It's not just, okay, I'm going to buy a house and then all of a sudden, boom, overnight I have a residential assisted living home. I'm sure there are a lot of cogs in that wheel, and I'm sure there's a blueprint that you have. Can you maybe share a little bit more of what it takes as a residential real estate investor to capitalize on this segment or this strategy, which is the assisted living, the residential assisted living strategy?
Sure. I always like to say, start where you want to end up. So if your goal is, I want to be a real estate owner and I want to lease it to an operator, so that's one path. And if you're saying, I just want to have my money go to work for me, that's another path. If you want to be the operator, we can get you there too. But let's just start with the one that most people are familiar with: own the house and lease it to the operator. So if you want to do that, the key is location, location, location. And the other key to this is I would not buy the house, fix it up, then go look for the operator. I want you to do the opposite. I want you to find the operator and ask them, where do you want me to buy a house? Now, if you do it that way, you're going to have success. And we always say you can charge up to twice the market rent with a long-term, let's say 5-year lease with 5-year renewals. So the money in regards to a rental, instead of a normal 3-bed, 2-bath standard rental property for a family, this might be a bigger house, more expensive house, but with twice the market rent, we can now cash flow that property that others would pass on. So the real estate investing is one. And then the second part would be to simply write a check, be a private lender or a joint venture partner, being able to participate in the massive profits in this industry.
So when I think about the market now, and I think about, man, it's tough. And I just saw Airbnb real estate investors, if they didn't take care of that property, because they were buying super high and they were renting out at really premium prices. If they didn't take care of that equity, then they're underwater. There was a recent article in the New York Times or Journal somewhere where there was a lady between New Jersey and Florida. She had $19,000 a month in mortgage payments, and she's like, "Well, I'm underwater." Is there any possibility that real estate investors using this strategy,
Right.
will they falter in any way? My initial gut reaction is, well, I'll tell you what my initial gut reaction is, but
So here's the reality. This has been a tremendous litmus test because
yeah,
people who have, and I'm not bashing short-term rentals at all. I use them. I love them, but they got shut down where they couldn't even allow. Even to this day in Hawaii right now, they're still giving them a hard time. Hotels limited opening, but Airbnb and vacation rentals, forget it.
they're gone.
Yeah. In
Yeah.
senior housing, everything is still rock solid, full homes, full tilt, everything is flowing. So here's the difference is you're going to take care of mom. You're going to take care of dad. People are going to take care of their parents, period. This isn't a vacation rental where we can stop vacations, etc. The caregivers are still working. They're fully employed. Many of them are working overtime, and just the employment is not an issue. The income is not an issue. The need is not an issue. And the government cannot shut down senior housing. As much as they tried or made silly policy mistakes in big cities and nursing homes, what we do with residential assisted living, this is, I've always said, recession resistant. In the last couple of months, now people are starting to understand why.
So you take a look at the populations of people and the generations of folks that this can serve. One, you got the baby boomer generation. Obviously, that's like important. That's the here and now opportunity, right?
Actually, that's the one that's coming. And
Oh,
I
really?
say that because the resident that's in the home is that baby boomer's parent or something.
Oh, yes.
Because the baby boomer, they're not moving into assisted living. But having said that, Abby, they're our customer because the resident lives in the house, but it's you and I. They're going to make the decision on where mom lives and how much it costs. We write the check, but mom
Yes.
is in the house.
Yes. And then after that, so yes. So it's a baby boomer's parents. That's opportunity number one. Opportunity number two is the baby boomers.
Mm-hmm.
Then opportunity number three after that is going to be the 75 million millennials, which is the largest, right? It's the largest generation of people
Yeah.
ever in
Yeah.
the U.S.
But I mean that up, let's get real at my age where, I'm 50, 60, getting closer, much closer to 60 than 50.
Nah.
Those guys, I'll be long gone before those guys ever check in. So the cool thing about that is people always ask, what do these people like and do they get along in these homes and so on? The people that live in these care homes today are in the silent generation. So if they don't like what's on the TV, they don't, start picketing. They just go to their room and watch TV.
Right.
The baby boomers think Woodstock. Those same people that were at Woodstock are on the front edge of that baby boom generation. So they're going to want a home that's got music and fun and activities and experiences. By the time the millennials come where they're picketing about, I want broccoli instead of Brussels sprouts, I'll be long gone.
Hey, I'm not going to be one of those guys. Okay, I'm not going to be picketing about Brussels sprouts. I love my Brussels sprouts, Gene. I can't handle enough Brussels sprouts. Picketing about Brussels. I'm going to remember that from today's interview. Gene, Abby's picketing about Brussels sprouts. I look like a Brussels sprout, okay? My entire hair situation. All right, so do I, at the end of the day, and we have a few more minutes, and I know your time is very valuable, so thank you so much for
Sure.
jumping on and kind of sharing this time with me. What type of investor do I have to be to capitalize on this recession-proof strategy in the residential space?
I'm going to say a smart one that wants to be at the right place at the right time. That's the kind of investor.
Yeah.
Realistically, the baby boomers have been driving the world's economy for 70 years. Their last stop is assisted living. So if you're not involved in senior housing of some kind somewhere, you absolutely are missing the boat today, but for the next 20 years. Because I can't, Bezos was asked a question a while back in an interview. He said, what's going to change in the next 20 years? And he said, the better question is what's not going to change in the next 20 years? When you think about it from a real estate investor's perspective, which many of your listeners are, we don't know if it's McMansions, if it's mini homes, if it's this, if it's that. But what we do know is seniors will need a place to stay. They're going to need care. And there's massive homes out there right now that could be repurposed into this residential assisted living. We already know that they pay an average of $4,000 per person per month.
Yep.
And if you have 10 of them in your home, the cash flow is huge. So a smart investor will be looking at where the puck is going, not where it's been.
I like that. You know what? I'm going to start getting involved, and I mentioned to you that's something that is really on my horizon here in the short term. I'm just going to make sure, in your honor, that every home that I have, I'm going to have a little garden of Brussels sprouts just for you. I'm going to say this is Gene's garden. I'm only growing Brussels sprouts, and that's it. And this is this is my revolt to the millennial population. Here's your one Brussels sprout. So you can't pick it. You can't like, go crazy about it. That's funny. If there's one thing, if there's one thing that you would like the audience, the viewers, listeners to know about residential assisted living, what would it be?
I'm going to say this as clearly as I can, because what we've been getting, Avi, recently is we've been doing this for a long time. I'm in my 8th year of doing it personally. We've been training people how to do it for 7 years. But people, it's amazing to me how sometimes they come up and they say things like this. Well, now that all the seniors are dead, it's like, excuse me? Yeah. Don't listen to the news. And then if you do listen to the news, they're talking about nursing homes where there's an issue. And part of the problem is some officials said, hey, if somebody is positive with COVID, put them into the home. That's crazy. It's nuts. It's absurd. In our homes, it's very safe. It's controlled. It's comfortable. These people are not getting issue. This is not an issue at all. So that's the one thing on a current level I want to take you away with. But again, I'm going to take it right back to where I said, you're all going to get involved one way or the other. Yeah. And if you want to do this and do it right, well, I can show you how, but you all are going to get involved one way or the other.
It's the natural process of life.
It really is.
And I think there's a lot. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of opportunity. It's recession proof, and that's why I asked that question. Right? It's like it's not just the Airbnb. I'm not going to say it's a fad, because I really do believe at that time it made sense to jump into Airbnb. But who would have guessed? Right? Who would have guessed we had this entire economic slight issue, and then of course coronavirus and all of that. So that shut down the Airbnb component altogether. And then you look on over to the assisted living, nothing really happened. Nothing changed. It's like it's like a Hummer eating a Toyota Prius, right? It's like, oh, what? Like a Prius? It just, what did I just hit? I didn't even feel anything. Like, who just hit me? What are you talking about? Anyway, Gene, this is fun. Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure getting to spend some time and invest some time with you. And I really do hope the viewers pay attention to this strategy, because at the end of the day, really, like just biologically speaking, at the end of the day, it matters.
Hey, Avi, is it all right with you if I give your listeners a free gift?
That would be amazing.
All right. I have a new book. It's called Blueprint. And this book right here, I'd love to give you a copy of it. All you need to do is go to RAL101.com. That RAL101.com, you can download this book. It's How to Start Your Own Assisted Living Business. Love to give you that book itself and learn more about it.
Awesome. RAL101.com. That's RAL101.com. Hey, I'm in. I'm all in. This is fantastic. Gene, thank you so much again. I certainly appreciate the time.
Appreciate it.
You got it. Think Realty Nation. You heard it. You know what? Listen up. At the end of the day, recession-proof business, recession-proof opportunity, and it just makes sense. Residential assisted living, and you can't get any better training than Gene and his team. They've been doing it for a very, very long time. Go check out RAL101.com, RAL101.com. All right, next up, this next segment is brought to you by Aaron B. Chapman. You want to bypass all the overcomplications of the common suit and tie mortgage guy and connect with Aaron and his team of real estate investment finance experts at Security National Mortgage. No fluff, no complicated industry speak, just brutally direct action. Visit aaronbchapman.com today. for more information. Let's check out the Zumper National Rent Report. So it's kind of funny, right? Like we just finished talking about how you can multiply your monthly revenue with residential assisted living and how you can make $4,000 a month per occupant. And you can if you have, say, maybe 4 to 5 occupants in your home, that's $16,000 to $20,000 a month in gross top-line revenue. That doesn't include any expenses, right? And now we're going to talk about median rent prices for a one-bedroom and how this number in San Francisco is $3,300. It's just interesting. So we divide the $20,000 by like a lot, and that factor is this. Anyway, the top number one still is going to be San Francisco for your June 2020 report, coming in at $3,360 a month. New York is after that. Of course, New York, expensive New York. Then you got Boston, San Jose, California, Oakland, California, DC, Los Angeles, Seattle, San Diego, Miami. And COVID-19 is shifting demand away from the most expensive markets. San Francisco rent is down 9% year over year, which is the largest decline ever and the lowest price point it's been in over 3 years. So that's kind of interesting to pay attention to if you're an investor in some of these larger markets and some of these primary markets. Make sure to factor in that decreased rent price. And maybe that should also trigger a red flag and maybe a signal in your brain to say, it's maybe I should be buying right also and not just at the market premium because I'm not going to get the same rent right now. So it's okay to buy at a discount is essentially bottom line what that means. So you want to check out this rent report. You want to go check out Zumper's blog, zumper.com /blog/rental price data, and you can follow exactly what's been going on a month-to-month basis. But essentially we're looking at rent decreasing for the remainder of this year is my guess, but let's see what happens here in the next couple of months and if that trajectory kind of just starts to trend back upward. Think Realty Nation, I had a blast with my friend Gene. I learned a lot about residential assisted living. If you want to learn more, again, RAL101.com. You want to get in touch with me, go to thinkrealty.com. You can find me anywhere online, especially on Instagram and YouTube. Most recently YouTube, so you want to go check it out. Abi Golhar Official is my channel name there. I cannot thank enough Real Property Management for sponsoring this podcast. And Real Property Management is the largest residential property management franchise in North America, managing tens of thousands of properties for individuals, investors, and institutions throughout the country. You can learn more at realpropertymgt.com or call 888-806-7088. Think Realty Nation, that's a wrap. Until next time, happy investing.